Hola, buenos días. Es Nico.
Sometimes.
Always?
Not always, no. Sometimes. That means sometimes.
So today, my skin is clearing out because I realized it was also because I was taking a full body cleanser, which pushes all the impurities out of your body, out of all places. When I tell y'all I've never felt so skinny in my fucking life, I feel like light as a feather. And it was causing my skin to, push out the impurities. So switching to a new skincare routine and that cleanser definitely made me break out. But bitch, I mean, I got one right here, but that's gonna go away. I've been using my mask. Like, bitch, what can I say? I'm loving it. Fenty is doing me justice, bitch. My skin's soft. But if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on Patreon at patreon.com/Nico'sAesthetics, where I just did a review of Raheem Shabazz' OnlyFans. Bitch, you gonna get your money worth. If you like thirst traps, Nico's Aesthetics on Instagram and Twitter, and if you like violence and or humor, Nico's Aesthetic. Today I'm gonna be talking about my sexuality because I made a tweet on my main account. At this point it's my at this point that's my alt, because I use my alt like mains like 100% of the time. I made a tweet about how I identify as bisexual, and it went a little viral, got like over 3K likes or whatever, and I got a wave of followers from people that ignored me when I identified as gay. But that's internalized homophobia. That's internalized homophobia, honey. What was that? What did they say? Forget it. I was gonna reference like a Pine Sol commercial. Essentially I'm gonna be talking about so sexuality in general is a spectrum. Most people are leaning in between. There is rarely anyone that identifies as completely heterosexual and or homosexual. Not to say that that doesn't exist, but the Kinsey Study, I believe that's what it was, did an actual broadened interview on the different types of sexuality, proving that it's more of a spectrum, seeing as how I understand a lot of gay people first come out as bisexual as a stepping stone into identifying as gay. That's originally what I did, but it was out of traumatic situations. So I wanted to talk about this because when I did come out, I got like a backhanded tweet, obviously the girlies were making jokes because I'm very feminine presenting online, but somebody made a tweet saying that I am being aggressive and damaging to the homosexual community by identifying as bisexual and saying that homosexuality is a choice and that blase, blase, blase. And I had to tell them, just because I identify as bisexual does not mean you F words. I can't say it vocally or else I'm gonna get like a strike on YouTube. Does not mean you F words have to identify as bisexual as well. My personal sexual identity does not have a reflection on anybody else. I am not here to be a role model for the bottom community. Bitch, if you want a role model for bottoms, I would look towards Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, and maybe Billy Porter. I wouldn't really look at him as a role model because he be cooning and buffooning, but as a bottom, go look for that. I'm not here to be your role model. If you come to my YouTube, you come for interaction, you come for dialogue, you come to kiki with me because we're basically friends here online. But I'm not here to be a role model for anybody. The thing is, the internet does not know a lot about my personal life, and I usually keep it that way just because it's a lot less stressful. So I don't understand why you would look towards me as your sexual role model. Obviously I live in my truth, I don't hide from it, but I originally came out as gay because in my adolescence, I was dating and crushing on women, I've never had sex with a woman because my interest in women has never gone past emotional. Obviously, I find many beautiful. I have a specific type of woman as well, black and brown, just like I like my men, but I've never been sexually inclined to them. It's always been a strong emotional feeling of connection and loving them, but never I want to have sex with you. So when I originally was coming into my feelings towards homosexuality, let's say, because I would identify myself as bisexual with homo-romantic feelings, as in I usually date men I sleep with men. I am still open to, and I usually emotionally connect with women a lot easier just because men are not normally in touch with their emotions based around, you know, hypermasculinity and machismo. It kind of limits your emotional growth as a man. So I originally identified as straight, and then I identified as bisexual when I came into these emotions, and I was outed in multiple ways. So I originally was outed because they found my porn, my internal family, like my inner family. And then I came out on Facebook to my friends as bisexual, and my older brother, who I will not name, I only have one older brother, so my family, if they're watching this, they're gonna know who I'm talking about. He decided to go and out me to the rest of my family to tell my grandmother to make me take it down. And he said, "You're not bisexual, just call yourself gay, because that's what you are." Because in the Black community, bisexuality is limited to strictly women because it is a kink and or fetish for heterosexual men to get around. Bisexuality in the male community, whether it be Black or Latino, is not normally accepted and or talked about. If you are bisexual in the Black or brown communities, you usually have to go along with the ideology of you are DL or whatever. Like, they usually do not accept openly bisexual people. And I feel like, as someone who constantly talks about Black and brown issues, I hope that I'm not that important. Before I even start this sentence, I'm not that important. Before anybody thinks like, oh, Nico got a fat head. No, I'm not that important. But I hope that I do add some validity and some visibility to bisexual Black and brown men, because we do exist, and it is a legitimate sexuality, because we are all on a spectrum. Like, you do not have to be one or the other, no matter the societal stigmas that people try to force on you. So I basically lived my adult years as a gay man just out of shame that I felt from my internal family. And it kind of just developed from there, because the more I lived with the idea of continuing on as strictly homosexual, I just continued to dive into and truly like dissect these feelings of emotions and sexual urges that I do have as a human being. And I'm on the spectrum of bisexuality, as most people are. So I'm not telling y'all to go sit down and really do a deep dive of your sexuality, because if you identify as what you identify, I'm not gonna fight you on it. That's your personal business, which people need to realize. Bitch, don't try to come at me about my own personal business just because you feel like I'm not a good role model and or representation for you, because that's not what I signed up for by just being a shithead on Twitter, because that's what I am. I'm a troll. But yeah, truly sit down and try to see where you sit on that spectrum, because sexuality is a very broad thing that takes time to explore and to truly identify as. And for me, it took 25 years, you know? I mean, like I said, I originally came out as bisexual, but I was shamed into being strictly gay because bisexuality is not usually allowed in Black and brown communities. So let me know what you think. Do not let me know what you think on my sexuality, bitch. Let me rephrase that. Do not let me know what you think on my sexuality, because I will light you up. But definitely drop down your own experiences. Do you identify as homosexual? Do you identify as bisexual? Do you identify as bisexual on the homoerotic or heteroerotic? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself more with men, more with women? Do you see yourself dating men more, dating women more? I genuinely would love to have this conversation. But yeah.
And once again, a quick thank you to all my patrons on Patreon, and a quick shout out to my third eye tier patrons. Your support means everything to me and helps me do this a lot more smoothly. I will also be listing this week's live stream topic in case anybody wants to join in on the fun. I will see you guys there.